Greetings, YouTube. We've seen some pushback in this community. Most famously to me, for those of you OGs who remember this a couple years ago, I guess you didn't really technically have to be an OG to remember this, when Kabam put the question mark over Christmas Eve, and everybody thought it was going to be something crazy good from Kabam Santa, like a 5-star Awakening gem, which at the time was like a 6-star Awakening gem, and then they gave us like a lesser gifting crystal, and everybody was so ticked off that they went to the Kabam forums and crashed the servers that way, the forum servers. So variant number 8 hits, and so many of the best summoners jump in and have what I can describe mainly as a anger-fueled freakout. And they let their voices be heard, and Kabam, in pretty historic turnaround time, has responded. So let's see how they're going to fix this. Greetings, Summoners. We want to thank you all for your feedback on the newly released back issues number 8 and for reporting issues that you encountered along the way. While we continue to accept your feedback and collect data, we will be making a couple of changes that will go live later today. Deadpool X-Force boss bug fix. Fix the issue where Deadpool X-Force was able to use his special 3 attack when he was not intended to use special attacks. This was caused by an interaction with the warning buff, so we've placed warning individually on local buffs to keep it active for the rest of the quest. I'm just going to pretend like I know what the heck that means. Venompool boss removed energize and regeneration. Added rise to power when the defender is knocked down. A 4-second timer starts. While active each time the defender lands a hit or strikes into the block, they gain 15% of bar power. That's amazing for people who fight him now, but for those of you that said you used hundreds of units and still couldn't get him down, I don't know what to tell you. We already talked today about compensation for the other bug. There's going to need to be compensation discussion for this. We will continue to monitor our community spaces for feedback, and we'll collect data on how players were affected by the above issues next week, and we'll look into compensation for these changes after we have done that. These changes will be live by the end of the day, though this may change based on testing timelines and results. Once again, thank you for your patience and feedback. Well, it's still a much less passive-aggressive post than, say, Kabam Mike's normal post. But I will say, some of you are not, no matter what, going to get, unfortunately, what you spent on that boss with that crazy region. I have to say this, and I know it sucks to redo fights, but the amount of horror stories that I've heard over the years of people that just keep putting revives and units, and then finally they either give up or it takes like 20 revives to get a boss down. It's probably best to just wait. It's probably best after a couple to just take the L, because ultimately there are going to be people who maybe they get 5 revives back and they say, oh good, that was, one, like 20%, 15% of what I used on them. So yeah. And then of course, if you one-shot the Venompool boss, you're going to be like, oh, I just got some free revives. So there's never a perfect formula for this kind of thing. And Kabam has a history of, when they do give compensation, undershooting it for the sake of not wanting to break the game. I don't know. I would be very curious what the variant 8 compensation should be. Keep in mind, I'm not saying this for myself. I've only done one completion run of the first chapter. So, first half of the first chapter, not even the first 2 parts of the first chapter. So this is not something that affects me at all. I'm simply using this as a means for the players that it does affect to talk about it on my channel. Yeah. I also know, because I've done enough of these videos, that there are going to be people who say, 6-star Nexus, 1,000 units, your baby sister. Yeah, that's a joke, obviously. It's going to be revives and potions and energy refills. That's just, unless they do something crazy, that's what the history says. Think about the compensation we've received over the last 2 months with the potions and the revives and the energy refills. It'll look similar to that, my guess is. Hopefully it's something good. And again, I'm not saying this for my own benefit. I'm saying this for the people who've been affected. But just remember, if you go into something and you start having to burn revives, just take the L. Because unless you can do it on the next one, I've just heard too many horror stories of people who've spent all their units and all their revives on a fight, and then they get like 20% of the compensation. It's the MCOC equivalent of when my students come to me in college and there's a new edition of a textbook, and so they bought a textbook for $100, and the bookstore's like, you know what, we'll give you $5 for it, and you just want to like burn the book. That's the MCOC version of compensation after you spend 1,000 units worth of revives to get, say, a final boss down. It's just never going to come back. Have a good rest of your weekend, YouTube. Thanks for watching.